Hey guys, what's up? Alex here. Welcome to round 7 of the Go-Kart Championship. We're back at Brooklands in Lancing once again. It was an interesting race last time out. It was very close racing, and hopefully we'll have more of the same today. Today we've got two new guys, apart from myself, John and Tom. We've also got Luke in the blue and black helmet and Josh in the white and black helmet. And both of them, I think, have been karting before. Actually, I'm not sure about Josh, but Luke's definitely been go-karting before. Both of them will be looking to learn here today and see whether they compete in the second race, which will be a reverse grid. This first race is done on championship order, so I'm starting pole, Tom second, John third, and then Luke and Josh on the back row. And away we go here for the first round, or the first race of round number 7. As we go out to turn 1, it's close. Tom and Luke both getting good starts, but you can't really get around the outside into turn 1, especially off the start. So you will slot into grid order position with myself leading, Tom in second, John in third, and then Luke in P4 with Josh in P5. Who, as I said, hasn't been karting before, so he's just trying to keep it out the barriers, and the pace will go as the race continues. So, around the last corner here, you can see Luke, I think, tried to go down the inside there of John, but it didn't quite work out here. Now, on board with myself here, leading this race here. How long are we going to be able to keep Tom behind? He's looking very feisty here to try and get an overtake in. Taking a bit of a wide line through here. I should have checked over my shoulder before doing that, because I didn't realise how close it was between all of us right now. As we go on board with Luke, and I'm trying to sort of it's like a harness for the GoPro, because of course Luke and Josh both don't have camera mounts on their helmets, so we're trying to use this. It doesn't give an incredibly bad view, but you don't get much of a view of the road ahead of you here, so maybe we'll find a solution to that in the future. But still, nonetheless, it's good to have that extra camera angle. We can still see what is going on. Lots of action here going on Luke's steering wheel. Now on board with Tom here, he's following me. You can see he's taking a different line through these last couple of corners, and I'm not too sure with that time it quite worked out, but it's quite close here. Going on to the next lap of this race here, going to the first corner. That's not really an overtaking opportunity, but turn 2 here, down into turn 3, definitely could be an overtaking opportunity if you set it up right here. So it's just in the order right now of where we started. Josh is losing time as we expected. We can see we're coming up to lap him here as well, so we'll be seeing that upon us very soon. But Tom, with a really good lap here, has caught up to the back of me. He's putting the pressure on. Is he going to be able to go for a move? He's quite close here. He's incredibly close here. Going into turn 3. I don't defend the inside line, and Tom looks down the inside. It's a little bit of contact, and Tom's through into the lead this race. So it's a move there for the lead, and a good stuff there from Tom. At the time, I was a bit gutted because we're looking on board here at replays, and you can see here, Tom, there was a little bit of contact between him. So he did sort of push me out the way a little bit, but I really, if I was going to be smart there, I would have defended the inside line. This is on board me here. You can see there's a bit of a shove there, but it was just a robust overtake there from Tom, and it's the way you overtake, granted. You've got to be like that. So at the time, of course, I was frustrated, but definitely looking back on it, it's like I didn't defend the inside line, and he was at a really good run, so I can't really be annoyed at that. That was just an overtake there from Tom, and it put him into the lead this race. But now he's going to have to encounter Josh here for the first time, lapping someone here. So this could be an opportunity for me to get this position back here if we set this up right here. But we're looking on the inside, there's a bit of contact, a bit more contact, as I didn't really expect Tom to be so slow through that corner, but of course he's right up behind Josh here. So round to the last couple of corners once again. It's basically a train. I try and put my car up the inside, didn't really work out there. Now on board with John here, down the main straight. We're all getting past Josh here. I think he's just done a really good job there, just letting us through there. So all of the front 4 into the front 4 positions once again. Nose to tail, basically, from Tom in the lead this race down to Luke, actually, in P4. He's just behind John right now. You can see John's actually doing a really good job. He's closing up to the back of me. He's closer to me than I am to Tom right now, and John was really putting the pressure on because he knew this was a great opportunity for him to get back P3 in this championship here today. Both Will and my dad not competing here, so it's going to be a really interesting battle. On board with Tom here, he's really doing a good job of sort of extending this lead out front, and he's going to be looking to try and pull away a couple of seconds, because once you pulled out a couple of seconds, it's quite tough to close down that gap, because you immediately had to start defending from the cart behind, which is what I was doing. So, but basically, if Tom can pull out a big enough of a gap, he should be doing a pretty good position for the rest of this race. But on board myself here, I'm starting to really push it, close down the gap here. The gap was up to probably about 1.5 seconds, but it's now down to less than a second here. So really is closing down here as we go across the finish line once again, and to start another lap. See, Josh he's getting to the rhythm. He's starting to get faster and faster, so maybe by the end of this sort of little double header race, he might be right up there in terms of the pace. So we'll see. Fingers crossed for Josh that'll be the case, and I think he was enjoying it, which is the most important thing, of course. So now I'm putting big pressure on Tom here. think he's starting to clip a couple of these corners, and he made a slight mistake there. I'm trying to go down the inside, but he shuts the door there. A bit of contact as we go down the main straight there into turn 1. Swinging right-hander for turn 2 as well. I was going to try and look down the inside there, but Tom does a much better job than I did at defending that inside position here. So now on board with John once again. He can see right ahead the battle that is ensuing, so he's probably doing a really good job here of just staying out of it right now, leaving a little bit of a gap in front. And everything does happen between myself and Tom. He can just pick up the pieces. In a great position right now, John. And I think he was really hoping to get a double podium this weekend. And he's on course for half of that right now. He's in the podium positions in P3. So is he going to be able to continue? That's the biggest thing for John. He needs maximum points he can get out this weekend. And I think a double podium for John here today would be absolutely ideal. And you can see he's doing a really solid job at closing down both myself and Tom, who are currently P1 and P2 in this race. We also need to give a shout out here to Luke. He's doing a really solid job. I think he's about 2 seconds behind John right now. You can see just there. So about 2, maybe 3 seconds behind John. It's the first time Luke's ever driven around here, and he's right on the pace right away. And considering myself, John and Tom had all driven around here before, I think that's a really good effort from Luke. And he was picking up pace all the time, obviously. So really good to see for Luke to come in here straight away and battle with us here. But you see we're once again starting to catch up to Josh. So there could be another opportunity here for all of us to look for another overtake here. And we're all closing up. And possibly this could really help Luke as well, because we could all get stuck behind him. And there's myself and Tom going around the last corner. Then there's John as well. And then there's Luke. We're all really starting to close up. And also we're catching Josh. It could really get interesting here for the squabble for the lead of this race. It's getting close here, lads. And now on board with Luke here. You can see he's really putting the pressure on himself to get the best lap times in possible. He's holding that steering wheel at the perfect angles to get around these corners. I think the sort of fisheye lens on the camera does slightly distort it here, but looks like, oh, is that a spin there? I think that was a spin for Josh. Quite a unparticular or quite a weird part of the track there for Josh to go and spin it around, but nonetheless, Luke very casual on the steering wheel as we go down to turn 1, throwing it into the double right-hander, then into turn 3 as well here, where it's quite a vicious right-hander where you can definitely get a bit sideways. Luke with a little bit of an opposite lock there, but he just about kept it in the right direction there. Good stuff from Luke. Now on board with John once again. He is starting to close down the lead here. I think the front 3 are definitely really slimming the gap here, and we are going to obviously be caught up through Josh spinning, but now we're going to try and catch up to him again. This will be the 3rd lap we put on Josh here if we get past him. So it really is closing up here between the top 3 and even the top 4, because I think Luke's actually closed onto the back of John as well. So this is a really interesting battle here. Anything could go on in these last couple of laps here. I'm really putting the pressure on Tom here, but unfortunately for me, I just can't really find a position to overtake here. It's really, really tough because there aren't really any overtaking opportunities, especially, I mean, I didn't find the best sort of lines through the corner. I don't think I didn't have the best run through a lot of these corners, so I was struggling. I was trying to put the pressure on, but to try and find a really good overtaking opportunity, it's more about Tom making a mistake than me sort of forcing the issue in a way, because I don't really think I was going to be able to get an overtake in unless Tom made a mistake here. But there is an opportunity coming right up here as we are catching up to Josh here. He did spin in the middle. We just briefly caught it whilst on board with Luke here. So this is up to the 3rd time lapping Josh here, but he shouldn't really be disappointed now whatsoever. To be perfectly honest, he was not far off the pace, like considering like what you normally are on your first time go-karting. He was actually really, really close to us. So it was good to see, and hopefully in the future he comes and you'll see much more closer racing here. So I can see I'm starting to put the pressure on Tom here. There's a bit of contact, but he can't overtake into this corner here. You can see the white lines there showing you cannot overtake here. But now trying to get down the inside here, Josh, I think sensibly just making sure that there's no contact between us all there. So we all go through there. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4 once again. But that couple of corners behind does mean, oh, and there's contact once again. I've tried to go for move down the inside, similar to what Tom did to me on the first sort of few laps of the race, but it didn't quite work out for me there, and I didn't get the overtake done. But that all sort of shenanigans there was trying to get past Tom, and also trying to get past all of us trying to get past Josh there, has meant we've all closed up here. So 1st to 4th is quite close right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes for the rest of this race. Actually, Luke might have lost a little bit of time. I think actually he's probably lost a little bit of time there, yeah, to John. He's actually still stuck behind Josh there, so unfortunately for Luke, that's sort of put him out of contention for the podium, but still going to pick up some good points there for P4. So now across the start-finish straight once again into the first corner. John's really closed in here. He's putting the pressure on. And he's looked at the inside, he's put his Kart down the inside, and I saw him right at the last moment now. I think I slightly steered out of the corner. You can see I'm a bit ragged here to these next couple of corners. I didn't honestly realise John was so close to me. I thought it had slightly fallen back, but... Well, so the pressure is on here with a couple of laps to go. Are we going to be able to close down Tom, or are we going to lose P2 to John? This is big for the championship. Right now, Tom's picking up some vital points over me. He's, I think, about 15 points behind the championship. Actually, I think it's about 16.5. I think I remember correctly right now is the points gap between myself and Tom as we go into this race. So Tom's going to gain 3 points on me here. If we can keep doing that to the end of the season, it's going to be an intense battle right to the last race here. So 2 more rounds after this one. So every point is vital. So now into this long right-hander once again. No really place to overtake through here, but I was looking for a good run through here. I was getting a good run through here, but then of course you can't overtake into this corner. So I was thinking about setting myself up through this corner here, but once again, Tom's he knows where to place the car to make sure I don't get through there. A bit of a weave down the straight there to try and maybe put me off, but into the first couple of corners, I'm really close. I'm trying to look down the inside against. Oh, there's contact. I think I was a bit annoyed with that one because I felt I had a chance down the inside, and Tom sort of swiped across in the braking zone, but I suppose a lot of us do it at the same time because we're like, oh my goodness, there's someone there, so we've got to try and defend from it. So a little bit of an aggressive move there from Tom, but at the end of the day, I think we'd have all done it. Once again, a bit of a weave down the straight there from Tom to make sure I don't get through. Now into this corner once again, not quite close enough to go for the overtake this time. He's definitely defended the line this time. I think he's definitely just keeping it together the last couple of corners, I think. I'm not actually sure when the end of this race is. I think this is the last lap of this race. We'll see the checker flag comes out. There's one more lap. No, that's the checker flag, and Tom wins the first race of round number 7. I finish P2, John finishes P3, P4 goes the way of Luke, P5 goes the way of Josh, and just a really interesting race in general there. Good stuff between all of us there, and I think obviously some little overtakes in there, a little bit of contact, but I think around this track it is inevitable, unfortunately, and that's just the way it goes. But good stuff from all of us there, close racing, and that's what we wanted at the end of the day, and really enjoying. So yep, that's it. You can see the standings right there. Good stuff from Tom to pick up another 15 points. I finished P2 and grabbed 12 points for that. P3 goes to John, 10 points. He needs that, and that means he's now jumped up to P3 in the championship. We'll see the final standings at the end of this one, obviously, but that has helped him up to P3 in the championship right now. P4 goes to Luke. He did lose a little bit of time there in the later stages of that race, obviously getting stuck up behind Josh for a couple of laps. Didn't help him out, but yeah, good stuff from there from Josh as well. First time ever go-karting, I think he told us. And that's a really solid job. You shouldn't be disappointed with that one bit. So, yeah, good stuff from all of us there. Good battling. I think we all really enjoyed that race. But race 2 got even more exciting. And that is because they reversed the grid and the track for the second race. Now, I did quickly talk about this over text message to the guys over at Brooklands Go-Karting. We did suggest this, but they did sort of confirm it on the day. And it was an interesting turn of events here. Of course, reversing the grid from the first race means that I start last, even though I finished second in that last race. It reverses the grid from the last race, not the finishing order. So, ready for the lights out, and away we go here. Race number 2 as we go to the onboard camera. Luke with a fantastic overtake around the outside, and Tom slightly hung up to dry around the outside there, and I managed to get P4 away from him. So Luke leading this race, P2 for Josh, and now on board with myself, and Tom's gone down the inside, and there's contact ahead as well, as I think Josh and John have made contact here. So let's have a look at this, on board with somebody else here. This is John. Look at that, a little bit of a sideways moment there for Josh, and John just about gets it going back in the right direction once again. Now on board here with Tom. He goes for a very aggressive move down the inside in the first lap of the race, and there's contact ahead. They all get through there just about without spinning out completely, but that's left me with lots of work to do there. I've lost probably about 5 seconds to the group here, maybe like 6 or 7 to Luke leading this race there, so a lot of work for me to do here. Now, looking at Josh, is he going to be able to... Oh, there's a bit of contact. John's putting the pressure on here. Is he going to be able to get an overtake him? It's really close stuff between these two guys for P2 in this race here. John's trying to go for a bit of a different line. Josh takes the inside line. John trying to go around the outside, but gets slightly hung out to dry once again. Tom's up his inside right now, but just about keeps it ahead. Now through the corner, there's contact between John and Josh, and Tom gets involved in it as well. And I go through into P3. Really gutting there for Tom to get involved in an incident that was really nothing to do with him. But I would actually say John doesn't normally do aggressive moves, but to be fair to him there, he put the cart down the inside and really well, he forced the issue a bit there. There was contact between him and Josh. I don't think Josh expected it. And we go back on board with Josh here. He's finally getting out of the situation. No, because the karts just have such bad steering angles here, unfortunately. The turning circle's really bad in these go-karts. I guess it's the same in all go-karts, but unfortunately around here it's such a tight track. He really did struggle to get out of it. And yeah, so on the outboard, you can see here, they're all getting away, but we did get stuck up behind them there, so it was a bit of a rest break, and it meant that I caught back up to John and Luke in the lead this race. So, if anything, that accident really helped me out. It put me up from P5 to P3, and also let me gain all of the time back to John and Luke in the lead this one. So now on board with John, he's really putting the pressure on Luke here, who's sliding it about all over the place here to try and keep it up with the two guys in front there. So Josh is currently leading the front of this queue here. So down into the first sequence of corners, turn 1 and 2, basically flat. Now onto the brakes. Oh, and Josh has spun it once again. Oh, really gutting there for Josh. And you can see on board with him here, I think he just hits the brake a tiny bit too hard. Now on board with Tom, really gutting for him. He was doing such a good first race. Then you can see on the outboard here as well, there's just nowhere to go. And I don't know, my brakes weren't doing that good. So I know it just looks like I crashed into the back of John without doing anything here. But my brakes just didn't feel like they did that much through there, which is a really strange scenario. But really unfortunate for Josh there. But even more unlucky for Tom. He was looking to try and get past Josh, and then maybe if something happened, get back into the battle. But they were a lap down there basically now. And they might even lose another lap here. So really unfortunate there for Tom and Josh. Both to lose a lot of time there. I think Josh trying to just push maybe a bit too much after getting into a spin the first time. And unfortunately for him, that's lost him even more time there. But the Marshal's doing a great job of getting them out of the way of the track. Before we come back round, it's only like a 25-second lap, I think, this one here. So they did a really superb job of getting them both into the right direction once again. And just solid job there from the Marshals. Really good stuff here in Brooklands, considering there's only 2 of them out there here today. Now, down the main straight, on to another lap here. John is starting to close out once again here to Luke, who's now stuck up behind Josh once again. It's a good opportunity for Luke to get another little overtake in. He hasn't had much opportunities to do overtakes in the 2 races so far, so be valuable experience here for Luke if he can get the overtake done. Looking one way then the next. I'm trying to go around the outside here of John, but doesn't quite work out there, but really close stuff there. I think John didn't expect me to come around the outside there, but I just about managed to do it. Now down the inside goes Luke. Great move there from Luke down the inside, as does John, and I go through as well. But that's a ballsy overtake there from Luke down the inside, quite far back from Josh, but he makes a slight mistake through here, and John's right up to the back of him here, and I think there's a bit of contact behind here as John took a different line. I was trying to sneak up and maybe give a bit of a run on him, but didn't work out. But I think there was a bit of contact between the 2 of us there, and there's a bit of a bump, me trying to push John up the order a little bit. But nonetheless, keeping on board with John here, keeping the pressure on Luke, and he's doing a really good job at just keeping the pressure. I mean, there's so much pressure on Luke right now. 2 guys behind him have been go-karting so many times, and Luke's just out there just doing a solid job. Now, on board with Josh here. Now, he's just trying to get into a rhythm. He had a really unlucky start to this race here, losing a couple of laps, but now it's just a great opportunity for him in free air on the track. Probably not that far away from us to actually, us 3 in the lead of this race. He's can probably just about see us, and he's just going to keep pushing and try and get the best lap times in possible. And by the end of this session, I would say, I was talking to Josh about this afterwards. We were all talking about it in the car. I think Josh was actually matching all of us on lap times by the end of this race. It's just he needed a clean couple of laps. He needed a couple of laps where he wasn't, side by side with someone or getting overtaken. He really just needed a couple of laps, and these couple of laps here started to get it going. And by the end of this race, as I said, he was right up there in terms of lap time. You couldn't tell it because we don't know exactly what the times were, but considering we were sort of monitoring where each other were on the track, and we were basically matching each other by the last sort of maybe 5 or 6 laps of this race, it was really good to see. And Josh even said in a couple of laps he did keep up with us and maybe even go a bit faster. That was good to see there from Josh. So on board here with Tom, this has probably been the unluckiest race he's ever had in our series here. So he's just got to pick up P4 here, and if I finish in P3 where I currently am, that's perfect for Tom, because it means he's actually going to outscore me this weekend, and there's no points to fastest lap or pole position because neither of them were counted. So switching here from Tom's view over to my view here, trying to put the pressure on John here and Luke, who are right at the front here. I'm just hoping there's a mistake or two, and there is actually, as John goes wide, trying to take a different line to Luke, and I put myself into P2 there. It's exactly what Tom's not going to want to hear, because right now this means I'm going to outscore him in the championship race here. On board with John, this is how it happened. He was trying to take a different line to Luke, and well, You have to be a bit forceful in overtakes around here, and that's exactly what I was, and got the overtake in. You can see from this outside view here, I just go down the inside of John there. I don't think he was too aware there. He didn't really defend that inside line, and well, that's just that meant there, unfortunately for John, he didn't get to keep the P2 he was in, and now he's down to P3, so a big battle on his hand here. Can he get that back? I'm putting as much pressure as I possibly can here on Luke to try and get a victory. If I started last and could get into the lead this race, I would be absolutely ecstatic here, but Luke is doing such a good job here. He's sliding out through one or two of the corners, which is definitely understandable considering he's never been around here, and considering we switched track layout halfway round, it's pretty impressive that how quickly he's adapted this layout. But if we stay on board here, you can see he's doing a good job through this part of the track, a bit slidey through here, but this is the corner that Luke was struggling at here. I think he was just clipping the inside a little bit too much, and there was a bit of contact on the outside, but John and I just could not find a way past in this. You can see John back on board with him, just how close this battle for the lead is. 1, 2, 3, right as quickly as you could blink, basically we all go through the bottom of your screen, and we're into the first complex here once again. This is where I'd say Luke is probably his weakest on the track, is this part right here. It's definitely where myself and John, who take different lines, try and do something, but you can see John try to do something. He tried to do a bit of an over and under overtake there, where he takes a wide line and gets a bit of a switch back, but it didn't quite work out for here. But I did definitely feel the pressure on here from John. I knew that, I think this is probably one of his best tracks, to be fair. This is where he's definitely closer than, for example, Filching. I think this really shows how good John can be if the karts are much more equal. And, well, good stuff out there. John, once again, he tried to push the kart down the inside, but he didn't quite get the overtake in. And it is incredibly close between all of us here for the lead of this race, and 15 points for the championship. So into P2 right now, that's giving 24 points for me, and if Tom stays where he is, that's 23 points. So this is going to be an outscoring opportunity for me, and I'm going down the inside here of Luke. I know I tried down the inside. What's happened? I've just drifted wide. That is one of the strangest accidents I've ever had. I just didn't understand that one bit. Really confused. The kart just wouldn't steer in, and I'm not too sure we're going to get a replay here from John's point of view, but such a strange manoeuvre there to happen for me. You can see now from John's point of view, back a lap, you can see just I'm trying to go put the pressure on Luke. I'm trying to take the inside line out. I'm trying to do something different, but the kart, even though I'm like full lock, just wouldn't steer in. I think I was just taking too much of a tight line to the corner. Unfortunately for me, it meant that I just threw away a good position there. P2 would have been good enough to outscore Tom here today, and it should have been me thinking my championship head, not my race winning head. I should have just taken that P2 there, but I don't really know whether I could have kept it, to be fair. John was right up behind me, but it split me down to P3 in a bit of a gap. On board with Josh, doing an absolutely solid job, and this is the part of the race when he was keeping up with us. So you can see on the left hand side we're sort of going face to face as we go through opposite parts of the track here, but Josh is equaling us, if not even going quicker than us in terms of lap times right now. So I think he could be really happy with that, and if we come back go-karting here again, he'll definitely know how to place the car and get himself around the track quickly. But on board with Tom, he's got a bit of a race in no man's land here. He's trying to catch down Josh to put a lap on him, but at the same time he's not really, he's like nearly 2 laps down now. You can see all of us going through on the left hand side of the screen there. We're all battling nearly 2 laps ahead of him, Tom here. So he's just trying to pick up P4. It couldn't have gone much worse from this race. None of it through his own doing, just being really unlucky to lose the position at start to myself, and then to lose all of the positions through the spinning and all that sort of stuff, which was just unfortunate for him. So any second now we're going back on board myself here as we close in on the last couple of laps of this Grand Prix. Maybe going a bit too far. This race is getting really close here. John is putting the pressure on. I've finally caught up to the back of these two guys. I think I did probably have a bit more raw pace than these two guys, but it's really hard to say because in the first race John was right up behind me as well. So it's hard to tell John's real pace because he was stuck up behind someone the whole time. He never had an opportunity out front by himself to really show how quick he was, but you could tell he was quick. If he could stay this close to each, people through the whole race, you knew he was pretty damn good. So anyway, these last couple of laps here were really intense here. I was really trying to put the pressure on John here, but I've lost a couple of tenths of a second here. You can see I'm struggling, but this first complex here I definitely feel I catch on these two guys, but then through this part here I don't really think I gained anything. I take the wider line in here. Of course I was trying to defend. I'll definitely take a bit of a different line through there, but I don't think I gained through anything from this part of the track here down to the first couple of corners. I mean, it's a tough one. Anyway, going across the start finish line once again. Can't be long to go in this race. Back on board with John as he puts the pressure on Luke here. Is he going to be able to get a final overtake in? There's a bit of a slide from Luke. Now, this is the part where Luke struggled in the last couple of laps and John is putting the pressure on. He's got a good line through here. Can John get an overtake in here right at the death of this race? Now through the last couple of corners, John is right up behind him as we go up to the line. Is it going to be the checkered flag? Not this time by. John's got one more opportunity to get this overtake in. Last lap I think this is, as we go round to the middle part of this track here. Is Luke going to make the same little mistake once again? Yes he is, and John's going to set himself up possibly for an overtake. It's side by side, is it for a millisecond there, but Luke keeps it. Now around the last corner, is this going to be the checker flag this time by? I'm not sure. Yes it is, so checker flag, last lap of this race. Luke just about keeps the victory. John does an absolutely fantastic job to keep up with him, but what can you say? Luke wins in the first race of the championship, or the first round I should say of the championship for him, so I think he could be absolutely over the moon with that. Great stuff there from Luke, absolutely amazing pace for him. And just great defending really, he did a solid job. John picks up P2, that's a fantastic result from him, and I get P3, meaning myself and John both pick up 22 points this weekend, and Luke and also Tom both pick up 23 points through them both finishing first and fourth in different races. So also a great job there from Josh to pick up P5, but some solid lap times in there is probably what he most cares about. So good job, Luke wins, second place for John, P3 for myself, P4 for Tom L, and P5 for Josh. And let's have a look at the championship standings after round 7. I decreased my championship lead to 15.5 points over Tom in P2 there. John is over the 100-point barrier now in P3 after Will and my dad both didn't compete in this round. James and Tom also didn't compete in this round, but Luke, after a fantastic debut race, now sitting there just behind Tom on 23 points. Will's dad not racing. Josh picks up double fives, means he's on 14 points, as is Archie. And Jake, after last time out, is on 10 points. That's a really interesting battle to continue into the last 2 rounds of this Go-Kart Championship, guys. Be sure to tune into those in the next couple of months. But thanks for watching. Have an epic day, and I'll see you guys around soon. Goodbye.